Like and subscribe might be a simple click for you, but it will lead to a transformational change of our channel. Support us to achieve 5 million subscribers by year 2028. The year is 2028, and for several years, the multinational corporation Omnicorp has been supplying the military with their highly advanced drones. These drones maintain security globally by utilizing scanners that immediately determine if an individual poses a threat. Television presenter Novak advocates for these robots to replace the police in American cities as well, but the public remains wary of machines, and the government opposes the idea of law enforcement that lacks human emotion. To support his argument, Novak invites a military commander onto his show to elucidate how each operation is conducted. He also dispatches a journalist to the Middle East to broadcast the robot's actions live on television. The reporter tours the town, filming how the robots refrain from harming anyone who isn't deemed a threat, proclaiming it a triumph for safety protocols. However, the locals are clearly displeased with their homes being overrun by robots. A group of rebels, armed heavily, secretly assembles and launches a full-scale attack on the robots. A fierce battle quickly erupts in the streets, with buildings being destroyed by the robots on the ground and flying drones that open fire whenever they identify an assailant. Many of the rebels leap onto the robots from rooftops in an attempt to bring them down. As the area is engulfed in explosions, the robots encounter a frightened young boy clutching a knife, merely trying to defend himself. However, the scanner deems the knife a sufficient threat, and the robot instantly kills the boy. Unfazed, Novak assures his viewers that the robot's action was necessary, part of the essential effort to keep the city safe. Meanwhile, at the police station, Detective Alex confronts his superior, who demands an explanation regarding an incident his abrasive colleagues have accused him of. Alex recounts the events of the previous night. He and his closest friend had met with some criminals as part of an undercover operation. They tricked a dealer into revealing illegal firearms and promptly arrested him. However, when Alex later checked the evidence locker, the weapons they had confiscated were missing, and no paperwork had been signed, indicating a corrupt officer had removed them. Later, Alex and his partner went undercover again and arranged a meeting with the gang leader at a restaurant, but the plan was interrupted when the leader received a call informing him that Alex was a police officer. The leader immediately left the premises and ordered his men to eliminate the officers, triggering a gunfight throughout the establishment. Although the two officers returned fire, they were clearly outnumbered. Seizing an opportunity, they attempted to flee through the back alley. Alex managed to escape without incident, but his best friend was tragically shot in the process. After hearing the account, Alex's superior reprimands him for acting without backup and assures him that she will take charge of the search for the corrupt officer. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., Omnicorp CEO Sellers tries to persuade the government that robotic police are a viable option, but the senators reject his proposal once more. Later, at Omnicorp's headquarters, Sellers meets with his team to brainstorm ways to gain public acceptance of robots on the streets. Given that the senators repeatedly mention the robot's lack of emotional capacity, Sellers concludes that they need to integrate a human with a machine. Meanwhile, at a specialized clinic, Dr. Norton assists his latest patient in adjusting to his new hands. Norton specializes in robotic prosthetics that function based on the patient's emotions, so the patient must learn to focus on his mechanical hands to play the guitar. The session is interrupted by Sellers, who speaks privately with Norton and convinces him to design a human-machine hybrid. Norton consults with Sellers' team to explore their options, but every retired police officer has been wounded for too long and is now too emotionally scarred to return to duty, so they need to find a more recent case. Elsewhere in the city, Alex's abrasive colleagues reveal themselves as corrupt officers and warn the gang leader that the police department is investigating him. To eliminate this investigation, they must deal with Alex. Later, while Alex is visiting his best friend in the hospital, a criminal plants a bomb under his car. In the evening, Alex returns home and spends time with his son David and his wife Clara. Just as they are about to have a private moment, Alex hears his car alarm go off and steps outside to investigate. As he approaches the vehicle, it explodes, leaving him severely injured. Upon learning of this, Omnicorp contacts Clara, inviting her to their offices with an offer. They will give Alex an entirely new mechanical body so he can continue living. Clara hesitates, but they graphically describe the extensive injuries Alex has sustained, pointing out that without her immediate decision, Alex will soon die. Clara has no choice but to agree. 3 months later, Alex is happily seen dancing with his wife at a house party, but then the image begins to disintegrate. The scientists reveal Alex's new form, which is 90% mechanical, although his brain remains human, and he is slowly reliving his memories. When they finally awaken him, Alex is confused and distressed, so Norton quickly reminds him of what happened and guides him through his first steps. However, the new body feels strange, and when Alex hears the word amputee, he panics, demanding the suit be removed. When Norton attempts to calm him, Alex forcefully pushes him away and runs out of the building, shoving aside anyone who tries to stop him. His running speed is astonishing, and when he encounters the wall surrounding the facility, he easily leaps over it. However, as he continues running, Norton ultimately decides to remotely shut him down. Moments later, Alex regains consciousness in the lab, and Norton removes the main sections of the robotic body to show Alex that only a few organic parts of him remain, making escape impossible. Norton explains that it was the only way to save him, but Alex, preferring death over becoming a machine, asks the doctor to end his life. Norton changes Alex's mind by revealing that Clara requested the procedure, and that his family is waiting for him, so he should go through with it for her sake. To prove his point, Norton allows Alex to call Clara, although Alex only shows her his face. Clara reassures him that he still looks handsome and eagerly anticipates their reunion. Having accepted his new reality, Alex spends the night at the lab, where his body undergoes maintenance. The following day, he is taken to train with Rick, the military officer responsible for overseeing Omnicorp's robotic forces in the field. Rick believes the machines are already flawless, so he considers the inclusion of a human in the project a waste of time and resources, but he still equips Alex with weapons that can be stored in special compartments in his legs. Alex and a robot are then put through a simulation where they must neutralize criminals and rescue civilians. As everyone moves about rescuing people with relative ease, Rick's prediction proves accurate. Alex is slower than the machines, as the machines merely evaluate and act, whereas Alex takes a moment to process his emotions before responding. Later that evening, when he is alone, Alex uses a computer to monitor the progress of the investigation into the gang leader. The next day, Sellers is displeased with the simulation's outcome and angrily orders Norton to resolve the issue. He also insists that Alex needs to look better on screen for marketing purposes, so he requests an upgraded tactical suit. Back at the lab, the doctor opens Alex's head and makes some adjustments to his brain that will allow him to believe he still has free will, even though the machine will actually be in control. Alex is also given a complete makeover, with his new armor now appearing sleek and black. He is then taken to an abandoned building for a new test. This time, he must face Rick and an entire army of robots alone. Using his visor to scan the area and with exceptional reflexes, Alex swiftly assesses the situation and takes action, shooting at every single robot without hesitation. He's also quick to find cover and hide when he's shot at, ensuring he remains unscathed. One by one, all the robots are brought down, leaving only Rick standing, so Alex targets his exoskeleton armor to secure the win. His reaction times are flawless, and he never suspects that the machine is making the decisions, so the experiment is deemed a success. Later, Norton takes Alex home so he can finally see his family. Feeling somewhat anxious, Alex takes a moment to gather his courage, but as soon as Clara sees him, she immediately embraces him. David is a bit cautious, but after Alex allows him to touch the cool mechanical parts, David expresses his happiness at seeing him and mentions he's been recording some games for them to watch together. Unfortunately, Alex can't stay as he must spend the night at the lab for maintenance. When he returns to the base, Alex meets his best friend, who has finally recovered, and he promises to track down those who hurt him. A few days later, Sellers is eager to introduce Alex to the public at a grand event, so Norton starts transferring all the crime and criminal files since 2011. Alex also gains access to every security camera in the city. The volume of information is overwhelming for a human brain, and when Alex views the footage of his car's explosion, he suffers a seizure and collapses. Norton believes a press conference today would be unwise, but the Omnicorp team pressures him to resolve the issue. With no alternative, Norton clears the room of everyone except his assistant and proceeds to suppress Alex's emotions, leaving him to act as a true cold robot. This allows them to complete the database download without further issues. At the presentation, Alex focuses solely on his duties, ignoring his wife and friends, recognizing only faces as criminals or civilians, not loved ones. On stage, his scanner starts identifying faces in the crowd until he spots a criminal just steps away from the police. He immediately plunges into the crowd and apprehends the criminal within seconds without harming anyone, which leads to public admiration for Alex. On TV, Novak uses this incident to argue that robots are superior because the police, standing right next to a criminal, failed to notice. However, Clara is deeply distressed as they are not allowing her or David to speak with Alex. In fact, they're denying him any personal life. Norton reassures her that it's merely a side effect of the medication and that Alex will improve soon. The following day, Alex returns to duty at the station and declares he will apprehend 13 criminals that day. Ignoring his friend's concerns, he takes a bike and locates a group of dealers using his access to the database and cameras. Most of the group flees, but Alex manages to subdue one dealer and coerces him into revealing the location of their base of operations. Soon after, Alex arrives at an illegal drug lab and enters the building on his bike, shooting down every criminal while remaining unaffected by ordinary bullets. Even when attackers try to ambush him from behind, Alex's scanner detects them, and he easily neutralizes them. Omnicorp is pleased with the results, and Sellers grants Rick full access to monitor Alex just in case. As days pass, Alex becomes a celebrated hero in the city, tackling crime at every turn. Novak makes a spectacle of it and brings Sellers onto his show to convince the senator that the American public is gradually changing their views. When the senator tries to protest, he is cut off. Meanwhile, the corrupt officers meet with the gang leader to devise a strategy to deal with Alex, who has been making their work increasingly difficult. At a later time, Clara risks running through traffic to confront Alex, pleading with him to show some emotion. She wants him to do something for his family since David is suffering from night terrors and needs his father. Initially, Alex seems indifferent, but as he drives away, he begins to process the situation as the robotic cop he has become. He searches through security footage and discovers that David witnessed the car explosion, which left him traumatized. Learning this about his son deeply disturbs Alex's humanity, and his brain slowly begins to reverse Norton's process of suppressing his emotions. Infuriated that his family has suffered because of him, he resolves to make things right. The lab staff notice this change through Alex's tracker and consider deactivating him, but Norton wants to see how it unfolds, since Alex is still engaged in solving a crime his own. Alex returns home and, using information from all the cameras, reconstructs the day of the attack, seeing his wife and son at the moment of the explosion. With the few clues available, he tracks down a man who worked with the gang leader, forcibly extracting him from his car through the window and breaking his hand. Alex exacerbates the pain by stepping on the man's hand, compelling him to provide the phone number of the leader's driver. After triangulating the signal from the last call, Alex locates the gang's base. As Alex heads there, the police station learns he is investigating his own case, and soon the gang leader is informed that Alex is coming for him. Upon reaching the base, the criminals are prepared for him in the dark with night vision goggles and heavy weaponry. Alex crashes in on his bike and activates his night vision, initiating a fierce gunfight. Despite the number of criminals and their relentless gunfire, Alex advances through the base, eliminating anyone in his path until no one remains. Though Alex sustains some injuries, he manages to restore power and collect fingerprints from the weapons, revealing the corrupt officers. He rushes to the police station to interrogate the suspects and displays incriminating footage on all the computers. One of the corrupt officers tries to attack Alex, who shoots him in self-defense. The other officer, terrified, confesses that their boss orchestrated everything, but Alex shoots him as well. Alex then confronts his superior and tries to make her confess, but at that moment, Rick remotely deactivates him. Rick informs Sellers of the situation, and Novak features the incident prominently on his show, showcasing that machines are superior to humans because they cannot be corrupted. The following day, the government begins to vote in favor of deploying robots to local police forces. However, Clara interrupts the broadcast, revealing that she has been denied access to her husband and that Omnicorp is ignoring her calls. Clara's revelation causes Sellers to fear that she might restore Alex's humanity, jeopardizing their control and potentially costing them the law. Rather than admitting the failure of their experiments, Sellers decides to eliminate Alex, planning for him to be remembered as a tragic hero. Sellers contacts Norton with an order to carry out the execution, and when Norton angrily refuses, Sellers entices him with an offer to fund his lab for 10 years. Norton reluctantly agrees, but only if Sellers compensates Alex's family as well. Sellers then instructs Rick to prepare the robots. As the law is approved by the senators, Sellers meets with Clara and David, making them believe Alex is already dead. At the lab, Norton arrives to find soldiers demanding to see Alex, prompting him to flee as they open fire. Norton reaches Alex first and activates a switch to make Sellers believe Alex is dead, but Alex remains conscious. It turns out Norton had removed Alex's transmitter, so no one has access to his vitals, and they can't deactivate him ever again. After Alex quickly shoots both soldiers, Norton reveals the entire plan to him. Determined to take down Sellers, Alex disregards Norton's attempts to stop him. He speeds through the streets on his bike, and Rick, spotting him from his car, alerts Sellers, who was about to announce Alex's death on live television. Sellers' guards swiftly escort him, Clara, and David to the roof to await a rescue helicopter. Meanwhile, Norton seeks out Alex's best friend at the police station, requesting his assistance. At that moment, Alex arrives at Omnicorp headquarters, which is now surrounded by Rick's robots and several guards. Alex swiftly dispatches a guard, causing the others to surrender, then crashes into the building on his bike, engaging in a fierce gunfight with the remaining robots. Unlike ordinary criminals, the robots are heavily armed and better protected, presenting a significant challenge for Alex. He endures heavy gunfire and, when attempting to tackle a robot, is thrown off and gets trapped under debris. Though Alex manages to free himself with some well-placed shots, his wounded leg slows him down, and the robots begin to shoot him from behind. Just then, a police truck smashes into the building, and Alex's best friend steps out in front of him, causing the robots to cease fire as they recognize the police are safe in the system. This opportunity allows Alex to escape through a back corridor. Deeper within the building, Alex finds Rick and attempts to shoot him, but the system has Rick classified as non-threatening and prevents Alex from harming him. Rick takes pleasure in shooting Alex with warning shots. As he prepares to deal the final blow, Alex's best friend arrives and kills Rick first. Before dying, Rick returns fire, wounding Alex's friend. Alex rushes to his side, relieved to find the injury is not fatal and that they just need to wait for an ambulance. Alex then heads to the roof, but when the helicopter spots him, it flies off without picking up the group. Sellers, confident that Alex can't attack him due to his programming as non-threatening, threatens to kill Clara and David just in case. This threat, however, causes Alex's love for his family to override his programming entirely. He shoots Sellers, killing him in return. Alex collapses to the ground, and his family rushes to his side. He reassures them that he's alright. Later, Norton returns the prototype body to Alex and informs him that he is now permitted to spend time with his family. Meanwhile, reporters on TV reveal that the government has become more certain that robots should not be deployed on the streets, leading to the cancellation of the law, especially after Norton agrees to testify and admit that everything he did was wrong. Novak is furious and rants in front of the camera, reminding the public that the USA remains the greatest country in the world. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you don't miss any of our video updates.